Hi everyone, welcome to Tales of Dread. This story is about someone who thinks he hears the devil, so let's go. I've been thinking for a long time about writing this. The truth is that I don't know if this is real or if it's all in my head. Whatever it is, though, it has changed me in so many ways, and I know I'm in danger. We're all. But let's start at the beginning. The first time it happened, I was praying. My grandmother had just died, and I felt lost. I decided that I would pray to God to help me find peace and answers and accept her death. My grandmother used to take me to the chapel I went to, so that's why I went there. It was small and very quiet all the time. Not very many people came. As I walked in, I told myself that I was going there to feel closer to her. Because I couldn't see anyone, I felt better. I didn't want to have a meltdown in front of other people. I sat down to enjoy the quiet, and then I began to pray. Imagine how surprised I was when, while I was praying, I heard a small voice say, "West Brain, I hear you." I got up and took a look around. I could tell I was alone, and I couldn't find where the voice was coming from. I decided that it was just something I made up in my head, and I keep praying. But when the voice got louder 5 minutes later, "You shouldn't be doing that." It was so close to my ear that it made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up and sent shivers down my spine. When I turned around, I saw a girl. She couldn't have been older than I was, which was 16 or 17 at the time. She was in this red dress and didn't have any shoes on. I've never seen black hair that was as dark as hers. Same thing. She put her hand on my mouth and said, "I started to scream, but I was also mesmerized by your beauty. Do you want Father to know we're here?" Her touch was comforting and not in any way dangerous. "What do you do?" I tried to hold back my tears and asked. "I'm the bad guy." She spoke. The first was unwelcome. I started shaking because I thought this was my last moment. She moved toward me as if she could read my mind. "Child, don't worry, I won't hurt you. You don't need to be afraid of me. I've come to warn you, just like I've done with a lot of other people." She stopped talking when she heard a sudden sound like whistling, and I could see fear in her eyes. I tried again to find where the sound was coming from, but when I turned around to face her, she was gone. Only her scent and this beautiful lavender sand stayed. I didn't move for what seemed like hours while I tried to listen. I thought I was going crazy, and I told myself it was because I was sad and didn't get enough sleep. But as I closed the door behind me to go to my car, I heard the whisper again. "Be careful." After a week, I had almost forgotten about what had happened. I could hear the occasional whisper, and out of the corner of my eye, I could see something red. But never a specific thing if they had it. I had to go get my mom at the bus station, and that was the only way to get there. Yes. You knew it was down the road where there was a chapel. The drive went smoothly until I got to the cross and the chapel in front of it. When I thought about what had happened, I got nervous. So I turned up the radio and tried to find a song that would help me calm down. The smell of lavender. When I looked up from the radio, she was there. She was right in front of the car I was in. She looked just the same as she did before, but also different. Older and tired. I yelled and jumped out of the car. I started running back toward the field. I was getting crazy. The tears came, as they always do. I turned to face her because I could tell she was behind me. "What are you looking for from me?" I really yelled at her. She looked at me with eyes full of sadness and moved closer to me. "I want you to listen to me," Child, because I want to keep you safe. I don't have much time left, and you need to help me. I didn't know what to say, but I found the courage to answer. Help, you're supposed to be evil and all-powerful, right? Who is he? She walked up to me and smiled this time. My darling child. Yes, I used to be strong. But evil never. I don't really like the name. Somewhere far away, you can call me Lilith. Whistling got a job. I tried to say something, but she stopped me. You have to realize that everything you think you know is wrong. The whole world is in trouble. So many lies have been told to you. You have been deceived. I'm not someone you should be scared of. I'm not going to be the one to hurt you. I thought I was God. When I heard that, I started laughing, and I kept laughing because I thought I was going crazy. We can't have this happen. Lilith said that this thing in front of me was God. She grabbed my hand and stopped my laugh. Kid. She told him, you have to understand, I don't have much time. Can't you see that I'm not like anyone else? Even though he didn't want it to happen, he found a way to make it happen. And if I'm gone, you can't be saved. Don't believe the lies. Believe me? It was easier to hear the whistling this time. She grabbed my hand tightly and looked at me with pleading eyes. No matter what made me say the next word, it changed the rest of my life. Okay, let's say that. I'm beginning to believe you. What can I do? What's going on? I saw her shaking when the wind picked up all of a sudden. She said, not here, I'll explain this tonight in the chapel. No one should know where you are going. Don't even try to think about it. He is all over. And that was the end of her. I was left alone again, and I thought I was crazy for making things up. The red mark on my hand where she had held me was there to show me that I was wrong. I thought about my mom all of a sudden, so I looked at the time. I was surprised to see that I was standing right next to my car even though no time had passed. I chose to do what they told me and not think about it too much. I have no idea who he was, but all of a sudden I was scared. The rest of the drive went smoothly, and I have to say that seeing my mom when I got home made me feel better. We sat down to dinner together and talked happily while remembering the last time she came to visit. She suddenly stood up and told me she had a present for me here. She ran out of the car, got this little package, and brought it in. Then she gave it to me. I hope you like it, my dear. It's a new scent. Try it. She had said, I think you and I should open the tin and smell it. So, we did. I was shocked it was lavender. I did my best to hide my shock from my mother, and I asked her in a casual way why she had bought me this one. In the past. I wish I hadn't asked her because her answer made me feel cold to the bone. She had told me that she was having trouble finding a gift for me in the store. When a girl her age came up to her, she was wearing a beautiful red dress. The girl's hair and eyes were the darkest black. My mom said she was drawn to the girl right away, and they started talking right away. When the girl heard that my mother had a daughter, she was very interested and asked a lot of questions about me. She said that the girl had suggested the perfume because it was her favorite. My mom said that the girl seemed sure that I would like it because lavender is such a soothing and familiar smell. I wish I could let her know she was wrong. Now that I knew this, I thought I couldn't hear any more, so I found a reason to end the conversation and put on a movie. After a couple of hours, I told my mom good night and went up to my room. I made sure my mom had gone to bed when it was almost midnight. I waited a little while until she was asleep, then got ready to go to the chapel. I was scared, but I wanted to know what was going on. "Okay, Lilith." As I got into the car, I said in a whisper, "Do you have my attention?" I was sure that someone was following me as I drove to the chapel. I choked it up as much as I could and kept driving. I didn't even notice when I got there because I was too busy thinking about what she was going to say. So that no one could see it, I parked my car in a small alley. I took a deep breath and then walked in. All my nerves and restlessness were gone. The chapel smelled like lavender, and all the lit candles gave it a soft, warm glow that made me smile. I looked around the room until I found her. When I did, my smile went away. She was hiding in a corner, looking scared, and I could see a cut on the right side of her face. I was more struck by the fact that she looked older and much more tired than usual. I went up to her slowly and whispered her name. She looked up all of a sudden, and her eyes lit up when she saw me. "I'm so glad it's you. I was afraid he would find me again. You've come closer. Before, I have to tell you everything. No more time." When she said my name, I shivered because it sounded so familiar. I was left speechless. I felt like I had seen this before when I saw her for the first time. I felt like I really knew her. She noticed that I had changed, so she moved closer. "So you start to think about it. I hoped that we wouldn't have to talk about this again. I hoped I had been able to keep you safe." I took her hand and tried to pay attention, but I couldn't. "Please, Lolita, tell me what's going on." "Yes. I feel like I've heard all of this before, but I can't put anything together." She gave that soft, warm, and knowing smile. She began her story with Eve. "First, you need to know why it's so important for you to stay safe. All of this began 1,000 years ago, when my father made me and my brothers, who are also angels. We were strong creatures, and we were happy to help Father make the rest of the world. When we were done, Father was happy. But I felt empty here. I thought that the beauty of this thing wasn't given enough credit. I thought we should make more, so I did. I made you, Eva, and Adam, too. I knew Father wouldn't like it, because he wanted to be the only one who made anything in the world. Father was kind, you see. But you can never completely go against him. You had to do what he said. In the Garden of Eden, I kept you and Adam safe. You were so happy, too. Eve, I promise you, you were really happy. But one day, what was going to happen did. You called me your God. A word that has so much power by itself. That made us stir. Things changed, and he knew that I had begged him to let you go. I begged him to get angry with me instead of you, my children. Eve, any promise that he would, if I gave up my rights in heaven and left heaven for good. He said that he would let you stay alive. I had no option. I laughed then. But Dad was mean. Yes. He kept you alive, but he made it hard for you to live. He made you miserable. He tricked you into thinking that he made you and owns you. He got you to dislike me and love him. Eve. You have to realize that you have never done anything to deserve this. No one has. Nothing you did was wrong. The books and the lessons they teach. All of it is a lie. You are not guilty. Eve. At this point, I was sobbing uncontrollably. Even though I couldn't remember very well, I knew this was true. How did I get here? I finally asked, how am I still alive? Yes. You would ask me this all the time. You have to realize that father didn't plan for one of his favorites. Me more than he did. Michael, tell me if your dad is going to try to trick you with the apple. So I was able to give it some of my grace. Once you ate it, you turned into an immortal Eve. When you die, you just move on to a new body. And the same is true for Adam. I've kept you safe by giving you more memory every now and then. But now he knows Michael has been gone a long time. This is the last chance I have. Adam needs to be found. You need to find him and help him remember, and then you need to save the world. I didn't know what to say. I looked at her and tried to figure out what was going on, but then the familiar whistling started up again, Lily screamed in pain, and the candles went out. And I got a strange feeling, and then I saw a shadow moving closer. This was sad, Leela. The chapel was pitch black, but the shadow was still easy to see. It was like the room was getting sucked dry. When I heard his voice, I almost passed out. Josh, I finally found you? Hold older. I yelled out in fear. When the lights came back on, I could see him. He was standing behind Lilith, and he didn't look at all like I thought he would when he was hugging her close. But it was clear that she was in pain. What do you do? What are you looking for? I asked. He was happy. This king's laugh went straight to my heart. I didn't mean to talk to you, kid. You said I was talking to my son or daughter. The one who lied to me. Why would you do something like this to your own father? Father. We've been through enough, haven't we? Heaven. Don't you miss it? You miss heaven? Lilith said with disgust in her eyes. Killer, you are not my father. Anything that doesn't fit your rules, get rid of. Why did you hurt Michael? Yes, Michael, the other child who wouldn't listen. Let's just say that Michael's programming has been changed. He knows what his place is. Now is now, he said as he held her even tighter. I could no longer take it. And I lunged at him. He poked me in the eye. I wailed because the pain was so bad. He kept laughing, and I could hear it in my head. Don't hurt her anymore. Father, please stop. Louis cried out. Had been able to get away from him. When she put her hand on my head, the pain went away right away. Olivia. Aren't you sick of letting your grace go to waste? There's no way to save her. Do you think so? Yes, you will die in vain. In vain. And with that last comment, he pulled her closer. Again, flames surrounded her. She fell backwards and stared at the ceiling with empty eyes. How did you treat her? You monster? I sobbed. But he had already left. The lavender smell went away, and all I was left with in this cold whisper was darkness. People say that God does strange things.